All right, what's going on, guys? I'm up about $1,000 on the week. Definitely wasn't a super good week. There's a lot of choppy price action. Um, it's just overall it was choppy. It was not decisive. So I only took trades on 2 days this week. And we're gonna go over all 5 days here. We're gonna go over everything that happened, everything that I looked for this week, days I took trades, days I didn't take trades. So we're gonna start off on the Monday. Monday was an interesting one, and this is the only day of the week where I go back and forth of whether I should have traded on this day or not. Going into the morning, if we're looking on the 1 hour, we're in a little bit of an awkward spot because we have such a big fair value gap here that we're just sitting inside of. And if we look at consequent encroachment of the fair value gap, we're pretty close to it as well. So we're definitely in an interesting spot here as well. Looking in the 4 hour, again, nothing special, just a little again 4 hour fair value gap coming into the big fair value gap as well. So going into the morning, what I'm looking for, so I have what I would prefer is the change in state up here and the buy side. I want to see us come to consequent encroachment of this candle. I want to see it respected, and I want to see a move higher off of that. But of course, I also have the sell side marked out down here. So what do we end up doing? Well, off of market open, what we do is we're consolidating up and up and up. Then we come up here, which sweeps these highs, sweeps these internal highs, which is basically OTE of this price range. So we come back to OTE, we sweep the highs, which that looks really good. Now, I would have loved a short here, except for the fact that there's really no change in state right here. There's no 15-minute change. I'm not going to take this. This is just one up candle. So there's not really a change in state here to look for a short. I'm not really going to drop to the 5-minute, especially when we've just been kind of chopping like this. So at this point in the day, I'd gotten off because it's a Monday. It was a no news Monday. It was choppy. It didn't look good. What ends up happening is we scroll over here. We end up eventually breaking this chop. Nice fair value gaps, and then the 10 o'clock candle ends up pushing us up all the way up to the buy side. And again, for the buy side, like there's a nice, I can move this over. There's a nice change in state right here on the 15-minute. It's a solid 40 points, solid 10 ticks, which is kind of my target for any given day is at least 10 ticks. So it's definitely solid. But again, it's a no news Monday. We already took one side of liquidity that didn't have a change in the state, and optimally, with my model, I like to just take the very first thing that happens. So I would have liked to take this short. Of course, I couldn't. As you can see on the 10-second time frame, I mean, it is very quick price action, very quick fair value gaps, and then the 10 a.m. candle just pushes us up from there. So I don't end up trading on this day. Still not 100% whether I should trade on this day or not. I don't think it's the best trade. I think there's a lot better days. So we're going to go ahead and look at Tuesday now, which ends up being far better of a day to trade on. Also, if you guys haven't watched my shorts, I have a short posted on Tuesday and a short posted about Thursday. So two quick shorts on those days if you want to watch specific days. But we're doing a big recap here of the whole week. So looking at the Tuesday price action. So starting out here, what do we end up doing? We end up coming back again to, let's see. So we zoom out here. Let's see, so you guys can see. So we end up coming to, basically OTE of this price range. So this is a big price range. We end up coming to OTE of this range. And from there, we're kind of working our way off of that. We have a nice 1 hour fair value gap here that we're kind of slowly breaking through, especially from 6 o'clock here, we break through it. This day is a little interesting because if you drop to the 15-minute, we're kind of just in between two sides. I mean, there's a nice change in state to the downside, there's a nice change in state to the upside, and we're not really too decisive on either direction here. We end up taking a long here, as you can see. We end up longing the market here. And again, optimally, I guess if I had to pick a side here going into the morning, I would have wanted to be long. Again, after respecting OTE of the bigger price range, we want to see a rebalance to the upside. We took these lows right here. So there's a good amount of confluence for sure. But like right before market open, like if we look at the 1 minute here, we're also at OTE of this internal price range, and we've just been shopping right here over OTE. So again, like right up to market open, I really was so 50-50 on the day, and so 50-50 in my decision making. And so we just end up waiting, react to what the market tells us. What does the market tell us? Well, look and see, push up, couple down candles in the 10-second, and then massive up candle, and then I'm in right here. And again, a little bit of drawdown, patience, and we come up a good 36 ticks here on the trade. So this is a pretty easy day. It's a pretty solid day. Pretty much exactly what I'm looking for. We have our change of state, we have the higher time frame confluence, we have respective OTE of the price range, and we have liquidity being taken early in the morning. We go on to Wednesday. All right, so Wednesday is a pretty abnormal day. This is one of those days where I'm just gonna get off like right away when I see this. And the main thing with this is A, price action in the overnight session is super abnormal. B, there's no generated liquidity, right? And when there's no generated liquidity, we have nowhere to target, and when there's nowhere to target, we can't take a trade, right? Because then you're just forcing things, and then you're just not following the model. So going into the morning, we start out, and I actually wanted going into the morning, I'm looking for this sell side because this is pretty much all I have. I have this buy side change of state marked up top here, and I was looking for, if I get this the right color, I was looking for this to be my sell side. But obviously, what do we end up doing? As you can see, we take this at 8:41. So 8:41 in the morning, we end up taking that sell side liquidity, and it's not like we bounce off of that, we consolidate. No, we just keep going. We just keep selling off. And again, so at that point, it's like I have no more internal liquidity, which with my model, I much prefer internal liquidity. The closest sell side liquidity we had, or closest discount rate we had, is going to be this sell side all the way down here, which ends up being pretty far, good 90 points away. Again, just not what I'm looking for. Especially with the market open, when the market opens, it just goes full barcode, and immediately off of that, I have no generated liquidity. Market sold off like crazy, and we're just doing a barcode at market open. It's just not at all what I like to see. It's so much different, and so I'm just off of this day. But Thursday, bounce back. This Thursday was one of the best days we have had for price action in probably over a month, I would say, for my model at least. Everyone's different for what they take. For what I look for, this is textbook, this is picture perfect. First of all, overnight session, what are we doing, right? So we calm down right here, 16 o'clock on the Wednesday. We take all of this low resistance liquidity, right? So we take this low, we take this low, we take this low. We're taking all of this liquidity, right? What are we doing from that? It's a sweep of liquidity. We have a big wick. So what are we doing? We're sharp turning. We have a fair value gap here. So we have a sharp turn in the other direction, and we're expanding. We have a breakaway gap here, gets tapped, respected, creates another breakaway gap, gets tapped, and slowly is being respected as we enter the morning. So again, what I love to see is when we have a very strong bias going into the morning, but before market open, we're currently manipulating. We're currently going in the opposite direction of that bias. So when market open hits, we're ready to just go with the trade in that main direction. So again, what do we see? Well, I'm marking out my sell side, my change in state, but I obviously don't do anything with that. We can even just delete it here. So I mark out the buy side. We look at the change in state. The change in state is actually really interesting here because going into the morning, what do I see? I can zoom out a little bit here. So the only thing I see for a change in state on the 15-minute is this right here, right? So this change in state right here, but it already got tapped at 8:30. So then how do I take a trade? Well, going into the morning, when I'm looking on the 1 minute here, what I was saying to myself when we had this huge expansion right here going into 921, 922, and we had this massive expansion, what I was saying to myself is, hey, only way I can take a trade here is if we sell off before market open, create a new change in state, and from there I can trade, right? Because I'm not going to work off of this change in state that got tapped at 8:30. If it got tapped at 9:20, 9:25, that's fine. But if we're tapping this change in state at 8:30 and then chopping over it, I'm not interested in that. So what do we end up doing? This is one of the rare times where I dropped to the 5-minute time frame, and here we go. 2 nice down candles right here that I look for the change in state. And I can even move this a little bit further down. I don't know why it's up. So there's the change in state right there. And again, it becomes a very, very simple trade right here. It's going to be a nice 36 ticks again. And if we go to the 10-second time frame, I mean, this is just so easy. I just have the stop order right here on the change in state, targeting my 36 ticks. My stop loss was at this low right here, so about 85 ticks, and we just, no questions asked. This trade takes just a couple of seconds. It's a very quick scalp, and we take that buy side liquidity. So this is a very, very easy day, and a beautiful day as well. Going into the last day of the week, it's going to be Friday the 29th. So looking at this day, let's see. Right. So we end up selling off, and at first glance, it looks like it's a fairly good day, especially when we go to the 1 hour. Because again, kind of what I just said, when we have a very clear bias going into the morning, but we're manipulating right before market open, that's one of the best things we can see. And what do we have on Friday? We're selling off. We have a very clear bias. And what are we doing before market open? We're manipulating back into this fair value gap, right? So it's very good price action. There's one thing that turns me off of this day, and it's the 1 minute price action, right? Because when as a scalper, right, I'm looking for small moves in the market, and if I'm taking small moves in the market, I also have to keep my trades very tight. I can't look for small moves in the market and give the market 100 ticks or 100 points of drawdown to work with as a stop loss. It doesn't work. My RR is already very low, so I don't want to keep it, or I don't want to make it even lower by having these crazy high stop losses. And so that's why on days like this, where the 1 minute price action, you can see it here, is just very choppy, and not just choppy, but lack of fair value gaps. I think that's such an important concept to understand when you're looking at, is the market consolidating, or is it just moving, generating liquidity and getting ready to move? Are we generating fair value gaps? And in this case, the answer is no, right? Because the little fair value gaps that we generate, like right here, like it gets closed through right away. This fair value gap right here gets closed through right away, right? And so, and even in all of this, there's like 1, maybe 2 fair value gaps. So, going into the morning, and then, going into the morning, I was already not liking this. But then market opens, and we look at the 10-second time frame here. And what do I see? I see, okay, some nice fair value gaps, and then market open, and it's a massive up candle, and then no fair value gaps, no fair value gaps, no fair value gaps, no fair value gaps. We're chop. And then, right when I think we're going to come down to the change in state, what do we do again? We expand down and then chop. And so at this point, when we finally tap the change in state, how much confidence does that leave me with to take the short here, right? I love the higher time frame. I absolutely love it. But to have a trade work, you have to have the higher and lower time frames together in confluence. So as good as the higher time frame looks here, I'm not going to short the market here, just because there's been far too many days where higher time frame looks good, lower time frame chops, we tap the change in state by 1, 2 ticks, and then we just shoot in the other direction and get stopped out completely. So even though this day ends up working out, for a 30 tick trade with, let's see, 60 ticks of drawdown. A good 0.5 RR. I'm not going to take a trade on this day. I'm going to stay out of this. I've seen a lot of weeks with a lot better price action on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we'll wait for those. But like I said, up about $1,000 on 2 trades this week, taking 3 contracts per trade. So it's not a big week by any means, but it is a great start. Definitely took advantage of what I could this week, and that's going to be the week. Let me know in the comments as well what you guys want to see for future videos, future shorts. If you want me to go over my model a little bit more, and explain a little bit more of exactly what I'm looking for, exactly how I trade, the days I trade, the days I don't trade, everything like that. Today, this is being posted, was Labor Day, so unfortunately we couldn't take any trades today. But we got 4 solid days coming up this week, start of September, so hopefully we have a good looking month. But again, let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys.